Hi everyone, and welcome to my announcement video for round 5 of the Disney Read-Along. If you're unfamiliar with the Disney Read-Along, it is a week-long readathon that I host every year in May, and it is completely inspired by all things Disney. So all of the reading challenges are based off of the movies, the characters, the music, so on and so forth, and we always do a watch-along of a different Disney film every year, so it's a lot of fun if you are a Disney fan. This is definitely the readathon for you. This year it is going to be taking place from May 16th to the 22nd, and as per usual we have 5 reading challenges. So the first challenge for this round is the Queen of Hearts, and for this challenge you have to read a book that features a heart either on the cover or in the title. So just in case you need some recommendations or ideas for this challenge, I am going to list a whole bunch of books in the description box that fit this challenge. Challenge 2 is The Robinsons, one of my favorite Disney families, and for this challenge you have to read a book about family. Now, I like my challenges to be able to be interpreted in a lot of different ways and in whatever way is easiest for you, so don't think that whatever book you read, one has to 100% revolve around family. Like, it can definitely still follow one main character, but there is also like some kind of family that is heavily featured in it, and you also don't have to have a family in it that is similar to the Robinsons, because let me tell you, there are a lot of thrillers and horrors with some very twisted, messed up families that work just as well for this challenge. And that's what I'm gonna read, if you couldn't tell. The next challenge is Raya and the Last Dragon, and that is to read a new release. So again, this is up to whatever your interpretation of a new release is. There is no set date that the book has to be published after for you to be able to read it for this challenge. Now, I've saved my 2 favorite challenges for last. So challenge number 4 is the Enchantress from Beauty and the Beast, and there are actually 2 different prompts that you can do for this challenge, and you can pick either one that you want to do. So the first one is to read a book that you bought because of the cover, or if you're not really a book buyer, it could be a book that you picked up from the library because the cover was just that beautiful. Maybe you didn't even read the synopsis of it. Or you can do the other prompt, which is to read a book that you've kind of avoided reading because the cover is a bit ugly or not so pleasing to the eye. So either one of those prompts will work to complete this challenge. And then finally, challenge number 5, which I think is my favorite challenge that I have done in all of my years of hosting this readathon, and that is to read a book that is set in the same city or country as your favorite Disney film. So for example, 2 of my all-time favorites are Ratatouille and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which coincidentally are both set in Paris. So I will be reading a book that is set in Paris. Now, you don't have to get specifically down to the city, so if either of those are your favorite, or maybe The Aristocats or Beauty and the Beast, you can just read a book that is set in France. Or if your favorite is Aladdin, you can read a book that is set in the Middle East. If it's 101 Dalmatians, you can read a book that is set in London or just generally set in England. If you're unsure where one of your favorite films is set, you can just give it a quick Google, because there's a good chance that it is actually set in a real country even though it isn't mentioned, or to set in a fictional kingdom that is heavily inspired by a real country. So for example, if your favorite film is Tangled, even though it is set in the fictional kingdom of Corona, it is heavily inspired by Germany. If your favorite film is Frozen, even though that is set in Arendelle, which isn't a real place, it is strongly inspired by Norway. Now, I know I'm giving a lot of examples, but I want to make sure I'm covering all of my bases. So if by chance your favorite Disney film is something like Alice in Wonderland or Peter Pan, you can read a book that is set in England, or more specifically London, since when they're not in their fictional worlds, that is where those movies are set. Or you could read one of the many Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland retellings out there that are actually set in places like Wonderland or Neverland. Those would work perfectly for this challenge also. So those are the 5 reading challenges. Hopefully I covered all of the information that you will need for any of them, but if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments. I'll be sure to answer your questions for you. And just like I said at the beginning of this video, we are going to be doing a watch-along sometime during the week, but what we will be watching has yet to be decided, so if you have any suggestions, also leave them in the comments. And the final poll, which will decide what we do watch, is going to be over on the Twitter account, which is just at Disney Read Along. So be sure to follow us over there to not only get updates about about the watch along and to participate in the watch along, but also for any reading sprints that we'll be doing throughout the week. So yeah, I think that is all that you need to know for this readathon. If you'll be participating in it, let me know in the comments and let me know what you'll be reading. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
You hear that, Samson?